So what we would do, so if we do want this to be our navigation, actually, I'll just go ahead and delete that. So say we set this up and we're pretty happy. We're like, yep, this is how I want my navigation to look. And I've gone ahead and set that up onto my page, which I'll admittedly, sometimes I do where I'm just at like a visual point of view. So I actually just, I don't create it as a component from the beginning. I'll go and just see how it looks visually. And then I go back and create a component of what I've just done. So if this is going to be my component, so I'll just take all these bits and pieces, slide them over here. So this is going to be my full component. So that whole navigation is going to be a component. So that is including the bar, and that might not be needed. But personally, I just like to do that because if I often need to like freeze that frame, I'll just keep, it's easier to just keep it all together. But again, that's not always the case. One instance is going to be one way, one instance is going to be another. Again, it just means when you're prototyping, you press, pardon me, you press play. Did it work? No, got to go back. Okay, let's try this again. Press play again. Okay, that worked, but now this is a bit janky. So it's going to be a lot of trial and error because not every scenario is going to be the same for what you're doing. So if I have my neutral state, so right now, here's my signal to say we are on, say, page 1, navigation 1. I'm going to take, whoopsies. I'm going to take all of this, so it's all grouped together. We'll call this navigation. And we come up here and we can make this a component by clicking this. We can also, oh, I thought this was grouped. Just kidding. Big dog, stop it. Apparently that supplement's not working. I can also right click and create a component, but it's nice and right there. So once we do that, we always know that when we create a component, it's highlighted purple and there it's already now in our assets component. So this is also why it says, especially if you have a lot of assets, you do want to make sure you label them effectively. So if I need to add different states to it, I go and press this plus sign, but you folks probably already know that. And then we can then go ahead and press that plus sign again to add more because I'm going to have 3 states for this. So going over to my prototype state, just delete that. If I want this line to on hover when I'm bringing my mouse over to go over there, we just need to create the different states for that. So in state 1, we're going to be here, and on hover for here, I'm going to need to just change how that looks. So we're going to say bold. I'm going to grab that little line and I'm going to move it here. Move this back to regular. And then again, I need my 3rd state, which is if I hover over this one. So again, I'm going to go here, bold. Grab the little line, slide it under. So now I have the look of those states done, but now I need to actually physically prototype them. About to sneeze. So what I want to happen is when my mouse is hovering over, say, navigation 2, it's going to look like this. So again, when I hover here, this is my state. Because this is all grouped, all you need to do is just kind of click a few times to get in there. And you can also just access it from your layers panel as well. So I'm going to use this from the prototype state, and I'm going to just hover this because only if I hover over this, grab that, and it's going to connect here. So that means right now on default, it always goes to tap. But what I wanted to say is while hovering, it's going to change to this, which is exactly what I want to do. Instant, that means it will, it'll just show up there. Or you can also do a smart animate. So smart animate, you can see, you can select a few different ways of how you want to go. Gentle, bouncy, slow, spring. I would personally just avoid any of that. This custom Bezier, I've never used this. This is, I think, new-ish. this is where it will ease in, ease out. So it'll appear there and then disappear. So you can just, again, it really just depends on some trial and error. And then that's the speed of how fast it's going to go. So now, again, if I'm hovering over my third navigation, I want this state to change here. Again, while hovering, change to, and then this state. So these are strictly not going anywhere quite yet. These are literally just changing the state of what these buttons are going to do. So while hovering, and then we should always make sure you get the extra steps in there. So if I while hover and it changes to this state, that means now this isn't prototyped and this isn't prototyped. So we're going to have to go back and adjust the states on all of them. So I'm going to have to go to this one, and now I'm going to connect. So if I hover over this, I'm going to go back up here. While hovering, Smart Animate will leave all the animation styles the same so they're consistent. And then on this third one, we're going to go here while hovering. Same thing here. Again, you can just click a few times, keep clicking until you get to where you need to be while hovering. So you can see it's fairly a manual to make sure that you have all of these so we can see how much is happening in one. So in this top one, we're navigating here and we're navigating here, but then on this one, we always need to just make sure those are all connected. And to be honest, I probably missed one because you always do. And that's why you always just go in and test. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my assets, and I'm going to bring that navigation bar in there. And now I'm going to, let's see how it works. It jumps back. And I think that might just be my animation.
Seems smoother than the original one.
I know it's that third one is weird. But you can see that no matter what, if I'm over on that third one, I feel like I just need to like adjust one little thing. I'm not gonna go to right now. I'm like, what would I need to adjust? And I think it's very clear, but you can see how that does move. If you want to change that to not be hovering, if that, or not animate, I should say, and just be instant, you gotta go in and we'll have to do all of these. I think I got them all, almost. Instant. Oh,
There you go.
some of them are acting. Oh, one's still. That's it. See? So instead of that animation, oh, something's still jumping over there. So I'd have to just go back, and that's where you'll just get a little bit finicky on like, okay, what's happening here? Why is it going from here to here? What is that? Shannon.
Is it jumping back because your mouse is leaving the?
It is, but I see how it works here. Because if I'm in this state, which is this one, I should just be able to.
Do you need a state
Sorry, go
where
for it.
none of them are active? So that when your mouse isn't on it, none of them are active?
Maybe. It might be. I think it's because this is our default right now. So if you move out, I think there's just a setting that it'll stay on. Like that line will stay on even if you move away. But then you don't want to do that. This is where it's like, just takes a little bit of like, how can I? And maybe you're right. It could be that we need one without, so at least it doesn't jump. It could be. Let's give it a go, just for fun.
I'm understanding so much better the components since you
Are
just did.
you?
So
Oh,
yeah, because a
good.
lot of the tutorials that I watch, they sort of like sometimes just jump right into it without explaining certain things. But just how you explained the states, like I
Gotcha.
knew how to do the component, but then you just added the states, and I've just never watched a tutorial that said it like that.
That
Where
went
I,
through all of
oh,
those.
okay, like that. Yeah, it's more planned out.
Yeah, sometimes
Brain.
they,
So thank you.
yeah, good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I could be your teacher and actually show you something. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to here I thought, oh, I just want to, instead of reorganizing, I'll do this, but oh, it's just, I love him so dearly. Okay, so now we're gonna end up with a whole bunch of, I'm gonna just delete all of these. And you folks can bear with me. And if you're not into this, then I'm sure we'll drop a few bodies. All right. Let's try this again. So if I hover here, while hovering, and I should have done this. If I did these connectors and then did these other states, it would have saved it would have saved some of the prototyping, just as a side note. But we're already here. So on top while hovering, and we're not going to do the animation anyways. So while hovering, and now here. While hovering.
So you must change every aspect in your component to have a state. Like
Yes,
every
if you're doing this
Okay.
particular
particular one. Okay.
yes, yeah, you won't always need to do this because you could potentially just be treating these buttons differently, but because we have this type, oops, that's why we have to treat them give them all the individual little
Because you
kind of
have the
connecting.
option to do that on every single state.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
You know what, Shannon, you were right.
Yay,
You're right.
Shannon.
I think that I would like this to still show, like if I was particularly on navigation one, I would want this to be bold. Um,
Yeah, that's
oh, you know what? I think that might just be then.
or just make
We
it.
could. um, No, it's going to be in the wrong spot, but no, it still does that. Never mind. Anyway, maybe a little more thinking, but hopefully y'all get that one. Hopefully after all that tipping and tapping,